Team, rally point is 200 meters east. Check your maps. Roger. Gear set. Move out.
Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll want to hear what comes next. My name is Marcus Kane, Sergeant Delta Force, 4th Special Operations Squadron. 17 years of service. 3 tours in Afghanistan. 2 in Syria. Decorated twice for valor under fire. I'm telling you this so you understand I'm not some boot fresh out of basic. I've seen combat. I've seen men die in ways that would break most people. But nothing prepared me for Camp Holloway. It was October 2024 when we got the call. Emergency deployment, classified location, radio silence protocol. That alone told us something was deeply wrong. Camp Holloway wasn't even supposed to exist on official records. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, 40 miles from the nearest town, buried in a valley that maps conveniently forgot to include. It was a research facility. That's all they told us. Government scientists doing government things. Our briefing lasted 8 minutes. Communication lost 72 hours ago. Last transmission was incomplete. Your objective is simple. Secure the facility, extract any survivors, retrieve all research data. Rules of engagement are defensive only unless directly threatened. Questions. We had 1,000 questions. We asked none of them. That's how these operations work. The helicopter dropped us at dawn. 6 of us, myself, Lieutenant Hayes, our CO, and a man I trust with my life, Corporal Diaz, our medic, and the only one who could keep us cool when things got messy. Then there was Penske, our demolitions expert, who treated C for like Legos. Jackson, our tech specialist, could hack anything that ran on electricity. And Rodriguez, our heavy gunner, built like a tank and twice as hard to stop. We were the best. We knew it. The landing zone was 3 miles from the facility. Protocol. The forest swallowed us immediately. Thick pines, dense undergrowth, morning fog clinging to everything like a funeral shroud. The silence hit me first. No birds. No insects. Just our boots crushing dead leaves and our own breathing inside our helmets. Radio check, Hayes said quietly. We all confirmed. 5 green lights on the tactical display. All systems operational. Stay sharp. Standard diamond formation. Kane, you got point. I took lead, rifle up, scanning the tree lean. The air tasted wrong. Metallic, like licking a battery. And cold, unseasonably cold for October. My breath misted with every exhale. We moved through the forest for 40 minutes. Nobody spoke. Didn't need to. We'd done this dance 100 times. But something felt off. The wrongness wasn't just the silence. It was the quality of the silence. Like the forest itself was holding its breath. Then Jackson stopped. Contact, he whispered. 12 o'clock, 200 meters. Structure. Through the fog, shapes emerged. Chain link fence rusted and sagging. Guard towers, empty. Prefab buildings arranged in a grid. And at the center, a massive concrete structure half buried in hillside. Reinforced blast doors standing open like a mouth. That's not in the briefing photos. Diaz muttered. He was right. The intel showed a surface facility. Labs, barracks, administration. Nothing about underground installations. Hayes made a hand signal. We advanced. The fence had been torn open from the inside. Not cut, torn. Metal twisted outward in jagged petals. Edges sharp enough to shred Kevlar. Whatever did this had brute strength and didn't care about obstacles. Could be an explosion, Penske offered, but his voice said he didn't believe it. We slipped through the gap. The compound was devastated. Prefab buildings with walls cave in. Overturned vehicles. Equipment scattered everywhere. Microscopes, computers, file cabinets spilling papers into the mud. But no bodies. No blood. No signs of life. Where is everyone? Rodriguez scanned us all left and right, barrel tracking his eyes. Spread out. 2-man teams. Check every building. Stay on comms. Hayes pointed. Kane, Diaz, take the admin building. Penske, Jackson, barracks. Rodriguez, you're with me on the lab. Diaz, and I approached the admin building carefully. The door hung by one hinge. Inside, the destruction was worse. Desks flipped, computers smashed, papers everywhere, some with muddy footprints across them. Bare feet human-sized, but the stride length was wrong. Too long, like someone walking on tiptoes. Marcus. Diaz knelt by a desk. He lifted something. A photo frame, glass shattered. It showed a smiling family, man, woman, 2 kids. Behind it, scratched into the desk's metal surface, were words. They hear everything. Hayes, you need to see this. I transmitted. Copy. We've got something too. Everyone converge on the lab. Now, the lab building was the largest surface structure, connected to the underground entrance by a reinforced corridor. Inside, the temperature dropped 15 degrees. Emergency lighting cast everything in red. The walls were concrete, 2 feet thick, with soundproofing panels that had been partially torn away. Hayes and Rodriguez stood in what looked like an observation room. One wall was reinforced glass, now spiderweb with cracks, overlooking a larger chamber below. Surgical lights, medical equipment, and restraints. Heavy-duty restraints bolted to a steel table, broken open, blood on the leather straps. What the hell were they doing here? Rodriguez's voice was tight. Jackson was at a computer terminal. Fingers flying. Logs are fragmented, but I'm seeing references to auditory research, subsonic frequency testing, and something called Project Echo Down. Echo Down, Hayes repeated. Mean anything to anyone? Silence. Keep digging. I want to know what we're dealing with. That's when we heard it. From below. From the tunnel entrance. A sound that made every muscle in my body lock up. It wasn't loud. That was the worst part. It was barely audible, a low, rhythmic clicking, organic, deliberate, like fingernails tapping on stone, but with a wetness to it. And underneath, something else, a vibration, a hum that I didn't hear so much as feel in my teeth and skull. Everyone hold position, Hayes whispered. The clicking stopped. The silence that followed was worse. Then from the tunnel, echoing up from somewhere deep below, came a sound that still wakes me up screaming. It was a voice. Human. A woman's voice. Help me, please. I'm still down here. I'm still alive. Diaz looked at Hayes. Sir, if there are survivors. I know. But something about that voice was wrong. The words were right. The tone was right. But the cadence, it was off. Like someone who'd learned to speak by listening to recordings. Jackson, any personnel records? Anyone unaccounted for? Pulling them now. Facility staff was Jesus, 43 people. Scientist, security, support staff. And they're all down there? Rodriguez asked. Nobody answered, because we all knew. Whatever was down in those tunnels wasn't asking for help. It was inviting us in. Word count. Part 1 equals 1,089 words. Part 2, target, 1,000 words. Hayes stared at the tunnel entrance for a long moment. Red emergency lights pulsed slowly, painting his face in intervals of blood and shadow. His jaw worked. I'd seen that look before, the moment a mission stops being by the book and becomes something else entirely. We go in, he said finally, standard rescue protocol. But nobody separates. We stay together, we move carefully, and at the first sign of hostility, we extract. Understood. Sir, Diaz's voice wavered. That voice! I know, Corporal. It didn't sound right. I know. We checked our gear. Ammunition, medical supplies, tactical lights. Penske distributed chem lights. Green glow sticks that wouldn't fail like electronics might. Jackson looped a signal repeater onto his vest to maintain surface contact as long as possible. The tunnel entrance was wide enough for 2 men shoulder to shoulder. Concrete walls transitioned to raw stone 20 feet in. The air coming up from below was frigid and carried a smell that made my stomach clench. Decay, chemicals, and something else. Something organic and wrong. Like the inside of a rotting tooth. Hayes took point with Rodriguez. I followed with Diaz, then Jackson and Penske. Our tactical lights cut through the darkness. revealing descending stairs carved into bedrock. The walls were wet, not with water, with something thicker, leaving trails of viscous residue that glistened in the light. "Watch your step," Hayes said. "Floor slick. 30 stairs down. Then 60. My helmet display showed depth, 90 feet, then 120. The temperature continued to drop. Our breath came in clouds. "Comms check," Jackson said quietly. "We're already losing signal." Hayes confirmed. Repeaters struggling. Rocks too dense. The stairs ended at a corridor. This wasn't military construction. This was older. The stone walls had been here long before Camp Holloway. Smooth, worn, and along the ceiling, someone had installed modern lighting fixtures and ventilation ducts that hung like mechanical intestines. The clicking sound returned. Closer now, ahead of us and to the right. Rodriguez aimed his saw. "Contact." "Hold fire," Hayes commanded. Could be survivors. We advanced. The corridor branched. Left led to what looked like sleeping quarters. Bunks bolted to stone walls. Personal effects scattered on the floor. Right led deeper, where the clicking originated. Left first. Hayes decided. Clear the rooms. The sleeping quarters were a nightmare rendered in mundane details. Bunks with blankets still tangled. Family photos taped to walls. A teddy bear on one pillow. But also scratches on the stone. Deep gouges, like someone had clawed at the walls with their bare hands. And on one bunk, written in something dark, "They came from below." These people knew something was wrong. Diaz whispered, "Look at this." Pensky stood by a footlocker. Inside, protein bars, water bottles, a flashlight, and a sidearm. A Beretta M9, fully loaded. Why wouldn't they take the weapon? Maybe they didn't have time, Jackson offered. Or maybe it wouldn't have helped, I said. The clicking erupted again. Rapid now. Multiple sources. Surrounding us. Back to the corridor. Hayes barked. Combat spacing. We rushed out, forming a defensive circle. Our lights swept the darkness. The sounds bounced off walls, distorting direction. It was coming from everywhere and nowhere. Then it stopped again. In the silence, water dripped. My heart hammered. Rodriguez's breath came fast and shallow. "Whatever that is," he said, "it's playing with us." Then we stopped playing. Hayes replied, "We move fast. Find survivors or data. Then we're out." We went right. Deeper. The corridor opened into a larger chamber. A laboratory carved into the earth itself. Equipment everywhere. Computers, oscilloscopes, massive speakers mounted on walls. And in the center, a device that looked like a satellite dish pointed downward into a shaft in the floor. Acoustic equipment. Jackson said, "Approaching a terminal. This is all audio research. Frequency generation, subsonic projection. They were broadcasting something into the ground." "Broadcasting what?" Hayes asked. Jackson scrolled through files. His face paled. "They were trying to communicate. They detected something down there. Vibrations. Patterns. They thought it was a language. Something was alive down there." Diaz backed away from the shaft. "Is alive," Jackson corrected. "Last log entry is dated 3 days ago. Dr. Sarah Klein. She wrote, 'We made contact. They responded. God help us, they responded. And now they're coming up.' A sound erupted from the shaft, the same clicking, but amplified 100 times over. It echoed through the chamber like bones rattling in a coffin, and beneath it, that vibration, that hum, it crawled into my skull, making my vision blur. "Back! Everyone back!" Hayes shouted. But Rodriguez was frozen, staring at the shaft. "Do you hear that? It's singing." "Rodriguez, move." I grabbed his arm. He didn't budge. Tears ran down his face. "It's beautiful." Then something moved in the shaft. Pale, elongated. Fingers, if you could call them that, wrapped around the edge. Too many joints. Skin like wet paper. Translucent enough to see the meat underneath. It pulled itself up slowly, deliberately. The clicking sound now revealed as its joints snapping and popping with each movement. The head emerged. I've tried to describe it. I can't. Not accurately. Imagine a human face melted and stretched. Eyes too large, milky white, with vertical pupils that contracted in our light. No nose, just slits. And the mouth. God, the mouth. It opened vertically, splitting the face from chin to forehead, lined with teeth like broken glass. It saw us, and it smiled. Open fire. Hayes screamed. The corridor erupted in gunfire. Muzzle flashes strobed the darkness. Bullets punched into the creature, tearing chunks of pale flesh. It shrieked, a sound that wasn't just heard but felt, a sonic spike that drove into our brains like nails. It fell back into the shaft. But the clicking multiplied. Dozens of sources. Hundreds. They were all around us now. Run. Hayes commanded. We ran. Discipline shattered. Training forgotten. We ran like prey, because that's what we were. The clicking chased us, echoing from every surface. I heard Penske behind me, breathing hard, swearing in Spanish. Rodriguez was screaming something about angels and devils. We hit the stairs and climbed. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. Behind us, the clicking grew closer, accompanied now by the slap of wet flesh on stone. Halfway up, Penske tripped. He fell hard, helmet cracking against stone. I turned back, grabbed him, and saw them, pouring out the corridor like water. Dozens of those things, crawling on walls, ceiling, floor, moving with unnatural speed and coordination. Go! I hauled Penske up. We reached the surface in a stampede of terror, burst through the tunnel entrance into the red emergency lighting of the lab. Hayes was already there, slamming the reinforced door. Rodriguez threw his weight against it. Jackson worked the lock mechanism with shaking hands. The door sealed with a hydraulic hiss. For 5 seconds we stood there, gasping, sweat-soaked, shaking. Then the door began to dent inward, not being hit, being pushed. The metal warped slowly, deliberately, as if something on the other side was leaning against it with impossible strength. That won't hold, Diaz said. He was right. The bulge grew larger. A screech of tearing metal. The hydraulic seal began to fail. We need to collapse the tunnel, Penske said. I can rig charges. The door exploded inward. Word count. Part 2 equals 1,198 words. Part 3, target, 1,000 words. The blast threw us across the room. My ears rang. Vision sparkled with white spots. I rolled, trying to find my rifle, and saw the doorway. They poured through like smoke. Rodriguez opened fire first. His saw roared, brass shells cascading to floor. Tracers cut through the darkness, slamming into the massive bodies. Some fell. Most didn't. They moved with horrific coordination, dodging, flanking, climbing over their own dead without hesitation. Suppressing fire, moved to the exit. Hayes dragged Jackson to his feet. We retreated through the lab, firing controlled bursts. The creatures flooded after us, that clicking sound now deafening. One leaped from the ceiling onto Penske's back. He screamed, spinning, clawing at it. Diaz shot at point blank. The creature's head snapped back, spraying something black and viscous. But its fingers were still embedded in Penske's shoulders. He ripped it off, flesh tearing, and kept moving. We burst into the observation room. Hayes slammed the door. It had a magnetic lock. He engaged it. The door hummed. That's not steel reinforced. Jackson shouted, It won't. Something hit the other side. The entire wall shook. Again. Methodical. Testing. Everyone upstairs. Now. Hayes commanded. We scrambled up the stairs to ground level. Outside, dawn had become overcast morning. Gray light filtered through the trees. The compound looked even more desolate in daylight. Abandoned vehicles, scattered equipment, that terrible silence. Extraction point is 3 miles north, Hayes said, pulling up GPS on his wrist display. We moved fast, stay together. The ground beneath us trembled, subtle at first, then stronger. Equipment rattled. Dust rose from the earth. Are they under us? Diaz's voice cracked. The whole facility's underground, Jackson said. If those things know the tunnel system. The earth 20 feet ahead exploded upward. Soil and stone erupted in a fountain. And they emerged. 6 of them. 8. A dozen. Pulling themselves from the ground like corpses from graves. Fall back. Hayes opened fire. We ran toward the forest, firing over our shoulders. The creatures pursued with that horrible coordinated movement. Some on 2 legs, some on 4, some crawling along the ground like spiders. They made that clicking sound constantly now, and I realized it wasn't random. They were communicating. We hit the tree at full sprint. Branches whipped my face. My lungs burned. Behind us, the clicking echoed to the forest, multiplying, surrounding. They're hurting us. I shouted. Hayes knew it too. Break left. Break left. We veered off the path. The forest thickened. Undergrowth grabbed at our legs. And still, the clicking followed. Always just out of sight. Always behind us. Rodriguez stopped suddenly, raising a fist. We froze. Ahead, in a small clearing, stood one of the creatures. It wasn't attacking. It was just standing there, watching us. Its massive eyes tracked each of us individually. Then it opened its vertical mouth, and it spoke. Help me? The same voice from the tunnel. But now I could see its throat vibrating, membrane-thin skin rippling, as it forced air through structures that weren't meant for human speech. Please, I'm still alive. It's mimicking, Jackson whispered. It heard the recording and the creature's head tilted. It clicked once. 20 more emerged from the trees around us. Contact all sides. Hayes screamed. We formed a circle back to back, firing in all directions. Muzzle flash strode the forest. Bullets tore through pale flesh. Some creatures fell, but more kept coming. They learned with every casualty, ducking behind trees, timing their advances between our reloads. We can't hold this position. Penske ejected an empty magazine, slapped in a fresh one. His shoulders bled through his uniform where the creature had grabbed him. One of them rushed Diaz. He fired 3 rounds into its torso. It kept coming. He drew his combat knife, drove it into the thing's throat. Black fluid sprayed. The creature shrieked that sonic spike sound. Diaz screamed too, clutching his head. The thing collapsed, but Diaz didn't get up. Medic down. I rushed to him. His nose bled. His eyes were rolled back. Seizing. The sound, he gasped. It's inside my head. I've got him. Rodriguez hoisted Diaz over his shoulder. Move. Move. We ran again. The creature pursued but kept distance now. Testing us. Learning. They'd hurt Diaz with sound alone. They were adapting their tactics. The forest opened onto a logging road. Our extraction point was close. 1/2 mile. The helicopter was supposed to be waiting. But when we reached the clearing, it was empty. Where's our ride? Penske spun, scanning the sky. Hayes tried his radio. Static. Command, this is Delta 4 Actual. Requesting immediate extraction. We have wounded and are under heavy contact. Repeat, immediate extraction. Nothing. They can't hear us, Jackson said. We're too deep. The rock, the terrain. The clicking erupted from the tree lean. Hundreds of sources. They'd caught up. Hayes made a decision. Penske, give me all your C4. Sir. Now, Corporal. Penske handed over his demolition kit. 8 blocks of plastic explosive, detonators, remote triggers. Hayes looked at each of us. His face was calm. Resolved. You 5 are getting out. I'll buy you time. Like hell, I said. We don't leave our own. That's an order, Sergeant. He shoved the GPS unit into my hands. Follow the road north. There's a ranger station 12 miles out. Get there. Radio for help. Tell them what happened here. Hayes! Tell them, Marcus. He squeezed my shoulder. Tell them what's under that facility. Tell them to burn it all. The clicking grew louder. Shapes moved in the trees. Go! Hayes chambered around. That's an order. Rodriguez grabbed me. We ran. I heard Hayes behind us, shouting, firing. Then the forest erupted in automatic gunfire, and that terrible clicking and the sonic shrieks. Then explosion. The shock wave hit us from behind. We fell, ears ringing. I looked back. A pillar of fire rose from the forest. Trees incinerated. The clicking stopped, but Hayes was gone. We kept moving. Diaz was unconscious, bleeding from his ears. Penske was fading from blood loss. Jackson's hands shook so badly he could barely hold his rifle. Rodriguez's face was locked in a 1,000-yard stare. And I knew, deep in my gut, that it wasn't over, because as we ran down that logging road, I heard it again. Distant, faint, clicking. They were still following us. Word count. Part 3 equals 1,089 words. Part 4, target, 1,000 words. We ran for 2 miles before Rodriguez's legs gave out. He collapsed in the middle of the road, Diaz still draped over his shoulder. The big man's chest heaved. Sweat poured down his face despite the cold. I can't carry him anymore. Rodriguez's voice broke. Penske took over without a word, slinging Diaz across his back despite his own injuries. We kept moving. The logging road stretched ahead, bordered by thick forest on both sides. Gray sky above. No sound except our ragged breathing and boots on gravel. The clicking had stopped. That should have been comforting. It wasn't. They're still out there, Jackson said quietly. I can feel them watching. He was right. The forest felt alive, waiting. Every shadow could hide those pale, elongated bodies. Every tree could conceal those 2 large eyes. How much farther? Penske asked through gritted teeth. I checked the GPS, 10 miles to the ranger station. We'll never make it. Rodriguez stared at his hands. They were shaking, not carrying Diaz. Not in this condition. We're not leaving him. I said, I'm not saying we leave him. I'm saying we're not going to make it. A sound cut through the forest. Distant. Mechanical. A helicopter. We all looked up. There, above the tree line to the north, a black speck against gray clouds. They came. Jackson waved his arms. They came for us. Get to the clearing. I pointed to a wide spot in the road ahead. Move. We scrambled forward. The helicopter grew closer. I could see it clearly now. A Black Hawk coming in fast. Salvation. We reached the clearing. Penske laid Diaz on the ground. I popped orange smoke. The canister hissed, sending up a thick plume. The helicopter banked toward us. Then the clicking erupted from all sides. They poured from the forest like a flood. Dozens, moving with terrifying speed. No longer testing. No longer observing. Hunting. Contact. Rodriguez opened fire. We formed a perimeter around Diaz, firing into the mass. The creatures shrieked, that sonic weapon tearing into our skulls. I felt blood trickle from my nose. My vision doubled. The helicopter came in low. Side door open. Door gunner on the M240 machine gun. He saw the creatures and opened fire. Heavy rounds chewed through pale bodies. Limbs exploded. The creatures scattered, retreating to the trillion. The Black Hawk touchdown. Rotor wash whipped dust and debris. Get on, the crew chief screamed. Rodriguez and I grabbed Diaz. Penske covered us. Firing control bursts. Jackson ran for the helicopter. One of the creatures leaped from the trees onto Jackson's back. He went down hard. The thing's mouth opened vertically, revealing rows of glass teeth. It lunged for his throat. Penske shot it. Once. Twice. The creature's head snapped back. It collapsed, but Jackson didn't move. Izzy, Rodriguez started. I rolled Jackson over. His neck was torn. His eyes stared at nothing. Leave him, the crew chief shouted. We have to go now. More creatures emerged. The door gunner swept fire across the tree line. Tracers cut through the morning gloom. We dragged Diaz aboard. Penske climbed in and Rodriguez. I took one last look at Jackson's body lying on the road. I'm sorry, I whispered. Then I jumped aboard. The helicopter lifted. Creatures rushed the clearing, leaping, trying to reach us. One grabbed the landing skid. The door gunner shot it point blank. It fell away, shrieking. We climbed fast. The forest dropped away below. I could see them now, dozens of pale bodies emerging from the trees, looking up at us with those milky eyes. And deeper in the forest, near the facility, the ground was moving, undulating, like something massive was shifting beneath the earth. What the hell were those things? The crew chief asked. None of us answered. We couldn't. The helicopter banked north. Camp Holloway disappeared behind the mountains. Inside the Black Hawk, a medic worked on Diaz for fluids, bandages, but Diaz wasn't responsive. His eyes were open, but he wasn't seeing anything. His lips moved, whispering the same words over and over. They're still singing. They're still singing. They're still singing. Penske sat against the bulkhead, clutching his shredded shoulders. Rodriguez stared at his hands, silent, face blank. The crew chief leaned close to me. What happened down there? I told him. Everything. The facility. The tunnels. The creatures. The acoustic experiments. Project Echo Down. His face went pale. How many of those things are there? Hundreds, I said. Maybe thousands. They're in tunnels under the entire region. Jesus Christ. We need to tell command. They need to sterilize that site. Burn it. Bury it. Whatever it takes. He nodded. We'll land at Bragg in 30 minutes. They'll debrief you there. But 30 minutes felt like hours. I kept seeing Hayes standing in that forest, buying us time. I kept seeing Jackson's body on the road. And I kept hearing that clicking sound, even though I knew it was just phantom noise in my damaged ears. We landed at Fort Bragg. Medical personnel rushed Diaz away on a stretcher. Penske was taken for surgery. Rodriguez was led away by psychologists. I was escorted to a windowless room. They debriefed me for 6 hours. 3 different officers. They recorded everything. They asked the same questions a dozen different ways. And at the end, a man in civilian clothes entered. No introduction. No name. Just cold eyes and a briefcase. Sergeant Kane, what you experienced at Camp Holloway is now classified under National Security Directive 77 Echo. You will not discuss this with anyone. Not your family. Not your friends. Not other soldiers. Do you understand? Those things are still out there. I said, we're handling it. Are you? Because last I saw they were spreading. The ground was moving. There could be. We're handling it. He slid a document across the table. Sign this. I looked at the paper. Non-disclosure agreement. Penalty for violation. Life imprisonment. I signed it because what choice did I have? They released me 3 days later. Medical leave. Psychological evaluation pending. They told me Diaz never woke up. Died of a cerebral hemorrhage caused by acoustic trauma. Penske recovered physically but was discharged after trying to kill himself twice. Rodriguez disappeared. Went AWOL and was never found. Hayes and Jackson were listed as Kia. Training accident. Classified location. Camp Holloway. Officially never existed. But I know the truth, and I know it's not over. Word count. Part 4 equals 1,095 words. Part 5 target 1,000 words. That was 6 months ago. They put me behind a desk at Bragg. Administrative duty. Light work. Therapy twice a week. The therapist asks about my sleep. I tell her it's fine. I don't tell her about the dreams. The clicking sounds. The vertical mouths opening in the darkness. I don't tell her that I've been researching, because I couldn't let it go. I couldn't just pretend it didn't happen. So I dug, carefully, quietly, using my security clearance while I still had it. Project Echo Down started in 1987, a DARPA initiative to develop acoustic weapons, sonic frequencies that could disorient enemy combatants, induce nausea, even cause internal hemorrhaging. They built Camp Holloway as the research facility. But in 1993, something changed. Seismic surveys detected anomalies beneath the facility. Massive voids, tunnel networks that didn't match any known cave systems. And within those tunnels, movement, vibrations, patterns. The scientists thought they discovered a new geological phenomenon. They started sending down instruments, microphones, sensors, and they heard something. Clicking, rhythmic, structured. Dr. Sarah Klein, the name from the logs, theorized it was a form of echolocation. She believed there was a subterranean ecosystem no one had ever documented. She wanted to make contact. So they started broadcasting acoustic signals into the tunnels. And something answered. The reports after that are fragmented, classified, redacted, but I pieced together enough. Whatever lived down there wasn't just animals. They were intelligent. They learned. They adapted. And when the broadcast continued, when the humans kept sending signals into their home, they decided to respond. The first incident was in 1998. 2 researchers went into the tunnels to plant deep sensors. Only one came back. She was found on the surface, catatonic, bleeding from her ears. She never spoke again. The facility was shut down, sealed, abandoned, until 2019 when a new team arrived. New technology, new ambitions. They reopened the tunnels. They resumed the experiments. And the things below had been waiting. I tried to go public. I really did. I reached out to journalists, sent encrypted files, recorded testimony. But everything disappeared. Stories killed before publication. Reporters who suddenly stopped returning calls. One, a woman from the Washington Post, sent me a single message. They know. Stop digging. So I stopped, or at least I pretended to, because 2 weeks ago I found something that changed everything. Seismic activity, Appalachian region, small tremors, nothing major. But the epicenters formed a pattern. They were spreading outward from Camp Holloway. Those things are tunneling, expanding their territory. And nobody's doing anything about it. I contacted the man in the civilian clothes. Used the emergency number he'd given me. He answered on the first ring. Sergeant Kane, you were instructed not to pursue this. They're spreading. I said, you have to stop them. We're monitoring the situation. Monitoring? People are going to die. That's above your pay grade. I'm making it my pay grade. I'm going public. I'm telling everyone. No, Sergeant, you're not. His voice was ice. Because if you do, the official story becomes decorated soldier suffers mental breakdown after combat trauma, fabricated elaborate conspiracy involving monsters. You'll be institutionalized, discredited. Everything you say will be dismissed as delusion. And your family, your sister in Charlotte, your niece in middle school, they'll be watched. Carefully. Do you understand what I'm saying? I understood. I hung up, but I can't stay silent. I won't. So I'm telling you this story. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I'm posting this on platforms they can't control completely. They'll take it down eventually. They always do. But maybe enough people will hear it first. Maybe someone will listen. Camp Holloway is in the Appalachian Mountains, somewhere between Tennessee and North Carolina. It's not on maps, but it's there. And beneath it, there's a tunnel network filled with creatures that humanity woke up and can't put back to sleep. They're intelligent. They coordinate. They communicate. And they're spreading. If you live in the Appalachian region and you hear clicking sounds at night, rhythmic, structured, coming from underground, don't investigate. Don't go looking. Get away. Get far away. If you find old research facilities in the woods, abandoned military installations, places that don't appear on maps, stay out. They're sealed for a reason. And if you ever encounter something pale, elongated, with eyes too large and a mouth that opens vertically, don't try to fight it. Don't try to run. You won't make it. Just pray it kills you quickly, because the alternative is worse. I've been hearing clicking sounds at night. In my apartment, in the walls. I tell myself it's pipes. Old building. Normal sounds. But I know better. They followed us. Somehow they marked us. Maybe it's the sound itself. Maybe we carry some frequency they can track. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe they just remember. Yesterday, I found scratches on my door. Deep, like something had been testing the wood, seeing if it could get in. I bought a gun, a Mossy Bird shotgun, loaded with slugs. It's under my bed now. I know it won't be enough, but it makes me feel better. So that's my story. That's what happened at Camp Holloway. They'll call me crazy. They'll discredit this. They'll make sure you don't believe me. But ask yourself, why would I throw away my career, my reputation, my freedom to tell you a lie? What would I have to gain? The truth is, I'm not trying to gain anything. I'm trying to warn you, because those things are still down there, still spreading, still hungry, and eventually they'll reach a town, a city, a place where people live who have no idea what's coming. And when that happens, all the secrecy and classification and national security directives in the world won't matter, because you can't hide from something that hunts by sound. You can't fight something that's been evolving in darkness for millions of years. And you can't kill what's already everywhere beneath your feet. The clicking in my walls is getting louder. I think tonight might be the night. If you're listening to this, if you're hearing my story, don't forget. Don't let them bury the truth like they buried that facility. Tell everyone. Spread the word. And whatever you do, don't go underground. Don't listen for the clicking. And don't believe them when they say there's nothing to fear. Because I'm living proof that there is. And soon, I won't be living at all. The clicking stopped. My door just opened. I didn't unlock it. God help me. They're here. Final transmission ends. Word count. Part 5 equals 1,088 words. Part 6, target, 1,000 words. This is not Marcus Kane. If you're hearing this, you found his files, his recordings, his warnings. I'm uploading this as an addendum because someone needs to know how this ends. My name is Dr. Ellen Voss. I was a psychiatric evaluator assigned to Sergeant Kane after his return from Camp Holloway. I'm the therapist he mentioned, the one he lied to about his sleep. I knew he was lying. Trauma patients always do. But I didn't know the truth until 3 days ago. Sergeant Kane is dead. They found him in his apartment. Official cause, self-inflicted gunshot wound. Another tragic case of PTSD. Another soldier who couldn't handle what he'd seen. But I saw the scene photos. I wasn't supposed to. A contact in the police department owed me a favor. He showed me the file before it was classified and sealed. Kane's apartment was destroyed from the inside. Furniture overturned. Walls gouged with deep scratches. And blood, so much blood, sprayed in patterns that suggested violence far beyond a simple gunshot. His body was found in the bedroom. The shotgun was nearby. One shell fired. But the autopsy showed something the official report doesn't mention. His cause of death wasn't a gunshot. It was acoustic trauma. His inner ears were ruptured. His brain showed hemorrhaging consistent with exposure to extreme sonic frequencies, the same way Corporal Diaz died. And there was something else. Residue on his skin, his clothes, the floor. Black viscous fluid that the lab couldn't identify. The chemical composition didn't match anything in their database. When I confronted my contact about the inconsistencies, he went pale. "Drop it," he said. "You didn't see those photos. This conversation never happened." But I couldn't drop it, because I'd been treating Kane for 6 months. I'd listened to him carefully deflect my questions, watched him struggle with something he couldn't talk about. And in our last session, 2 days before he died, he'd said something that stuck with me. "Doc, if something happens to me, if I disappear or die suddenly, don't believe the official story. Look deeper." So I did. I accessed his medical files, his service record, and I found references to Camp Holloway. Not much, most of it was redacted, but enough to confirm the facility existed, enough to confirm his unit was deployed there, and enough to find other names. There were 6 soldiers on that mission. Lieutenant Hayes and Corporal Jackson died on site. Corporal Diaz died in medical care. Corporal Pensky committed suicide after discharge. Corporal Rodriguez went AWOL and disappeared. That left Kane. And now Kane is dead too. Every single member of that unit. Gone within 6 months. That's not coincidence. That's systematic. I started digging into seismic data, public records, geological surveys, And Kane was right. There's been unusual activity in the Appalachian region. Small tremors radiating outward from an epicenter in the mountains. Too regular to be natural. Too structured. I cross-referenced missing persons reports from towns near the epicenter. 15 people in the last 3 months. Most listed as runaways or lost hikers. But the pattern was clear. They all disappeared near forested areas. They all vanished at night. And in 3 cases, witnesses reported hearing strange clicking sounds before the disappearances. I submitted a report to the CDC, claiming potential environmental contamination. They never responded. I contacted the USGS about the seismic anomalies. They said they'd look into it. They didn't. Yesterday, I received a visitor at my office, a man in civilian clothes. No appointment. He walked past my receptionist like she wasn't there. He sat down across from my desk and opened a briefcase. Dr. Voss, you've been asking questions. I knew immediately who he was. The same man Kane had described. The same cold eyes. I'm concerned about a patient, I said carefully. Sergeant Kane is no longer your concern. He's deceased. Under suspicious circumstances. Under tragic but explainable circumstances. PTSD is a serious condition. It affects cognitive function, decision-making, perception of reality. His autopsy showed. His autopsy is classified. Whatever you think you saw, you were mistaken. He slid a document across my desk. Another NDA, more comprehensive than Kane's. It covered everything, my treatment of him, my knowledge of his service, my investigation. Sign this, and you can go back to your life. Refuse, and your medical license will be under review for ethics violations, patient confidentiality breaches, unauthorized access to classified materials. You'll be unemployable. I looked at the document, then at him. What's at Camp Holloway? I asked. Nothing anymore. The facility is closed. Then why does it matter if people know about it? It matters because we say it matters. He tapped the document. Sign. I signed. What choice did I have? But before he left, I asked one more question. Did you kill him? Did you kill Kane to keep him quiet? The man paused at the door. He didn't turn around. We didn't have to, he said. Nature took its course. Then he was gone. Nature took its course. That phrase has haunted me for 3 days, because it implies they didn't kill Kane. Something else did. Something that came for him naturally, inevitably. The creatures from Camp Holloway. They marked him, tracked him, hunted him, and eventually they found him, which means they can come anywhere. They're not confined to the tunnels. They're not limited to the mountains. They're spreading. And nobody's stopping them because officially they don't exist. I'm leaving this recording in Kane's file. I'm encrypting it and uploading it to 3 separate secure servers. If something happens to me, it will be released automatically. I'm also leaving my city. Tonight, I've packed essentials, withdrawn cash, bought a burner phone. I'm heading west, as far from the Appalachian Mountains as I can get. Maybe I'm paranoid. Maybe the stress of Kane's death has affected my judgment. Or maybe I'm the only one who understands the truth. There's something under the mountains. Something old. Something that was sleeping until we woke it. And now it's awake, it's hungry, and it's learning how to survive in our world. Kane tried to warn everyone. He died trying. Now I'm warning you. If you live east of the Mississippi, pay attention. Listen at night. Watch for patterns, missing persons, seismic activity, strange sounds. And if you hear clicking in the dark, rhythmic, structured, getting closer, don't investigate. Run. Run as far and as fast as you can, because they're coming. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they'll reach you. They'll reach all of us. And when they do, all the secrets and cover-ups and classified documents in the world won't save us. Kane knew that. That's why he broke his silence. That's why I'm breaking mine. Someone has to tell the truth, even if no one believes it, even if it costs everything. The clicking doesn't stop just because you close your eyes. It doesn't disappear just because you pretend it's not real. It's there, in the dark, under the ground, getting closer, always closer. And soon, it will be close enough to touch you. Recording ends. File uploaded. 2:34 a.m. Location redacted. Status active. Word count. Part 6 equals 1,198 words. Part 7 target 1,000 words. Supplemental file recovered. Source unknown. Date 8 weeks after Dr. Voss's disappearance. This will be my only statement. I don't know how long this upload will stay active before they find it and scrub it. Minutes, maybe hours if I'm lucky. But someone needs to document what's happening. Someone needs to tell the truth before truth becomes impossible to find. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what I've seen. I work for the United States Geological Survey. I'm a seismologist. I study earthquakes, fault lines, underground geological structures. It's supposed to be boring work. Data analysis, computer models, academic papers nobody reads. It was boring until 3 months ago when the Appalachian anomalies began. At first, we thought they were tremors, minor seismic events, magnitude 2.0 or less, barely noticeable on the surface. But the frequency was wrong. They occurred at regular intervals, every 6 hours. Precise, mechanical. That's not how earthquakes work. Natural seismic activity is chaotic, random. These tremors were structured, deliberate, like footsteps. We mapped the epicenters. They formed a radial pattern spreading outward from a central point in the North Carolina mountains. Over 3 months, the radius expanded by 40 miles. Whatever was causing them was moving, growing, spreading. I submitted my findings to my supervisor. He buried them, said the data was inconclusive, equipment malfunction, atmospheric interference. But I knew what I was seeing. And when I cross-referenced the seismic data with missing persons reports, the correlation was undeniable. Every town within the expanding radius reported disappearances. Not many, 2 or 3 per location. Just enough to seem like normal statistical variation. Lost hikers, runaways, domestic disputes gone wrong. But the numbers were growing. I tried to escalate. I contacted the CDC, FEMA, Homeland Security. Nobody responded. Every report I filed disappeared into bureaucratic black holes. Then, 2 weeks ago, I received an encrypted email. No sender, no subject line, just a video file. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. The footage was dark, grainy, shot on what looked like a phone camera. Timestamp showed it was recorded at 2:47 a.m. Location metadata placed it in western North Carolina, near the Pisgah National Forest. The video showed a forest path at night, trees pressed close on both sides. The person holding the camera was breathing hard, walking fast. No running. "It's following me," a male voice whispered. "I hear it. It's right behind me." The camera swung around, illuminating the path behind him. Nothing but trees and darkness. Then, barely audible beneath his breathing, I heard it, clicking. The camera whipped forward again. The man ran faster. His breath came in gasps. "Please, if anyone finds this, tell my family I love them. Tell them I didn't just disappear. Tell them something took me." The clicking grew louder, closer. The camera shook violently. "It's here. Oh, God, it's..." The camera fell. The image showed the ground, dead leaves, darkness. And then, moving into frame, I saw it. Pale, elongated, fingers with too many joints. It crouched over the camera, and its face filled the screen. Those eyes, milky white with vertical pupils. The mouth opening vertically, revealing teeth like broken glass. It looked directly into the camera, and it smiled. Then the video ended. I tried to trace the email. Impossible. Routed through a dozen proxy servers across 6 countries. But the video was real. The timestamp was real. And when I checked missing persons reports for that area and time frame, I found him. David Hernandez, age 34. Disappeared during a solo hiking trip. Never found. The video was his last transmission. And nobody was investigating it. I couldn't stay silent. I posted the video online. Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere I could. Within 2 hours, every upload was removed. Terms of service violations, community guidelines, harmful content. My accounts were suspended. My work computer was remotely wiped. And that evening, I found a man in a suit waiting outside my apartment. You know who he was. The same man who visited Kane, who visited Dr. Voss. He didn't threaten me. Didn't need to. He just handed me a folder containing photos of my daughter at school, my wife at work, my elderly mother at her nursing home. Sensitive information, he said, requires responsible handling. Do you understand? I understood. He left. I burned the folder, and I decided to run. But before I did, I copied everything. Every seismic map, every data file, every correlation between tremors and disappearances. I compiled it into a single encrypted package and set it to upload to 40 different servers simultaneously if I don't check in every 72 hours. Insurance. Because here's what they don't want you to know. The Appalachian anomalies aren't slowing down. They're accelerating. The expansion radius is growing exponentially. At current rates, the affected area will reach major population centers within 8 months. Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., millions of people, and the disappearances are increasing. What started as 2 or 3 per town is now 5, 10, 20. Small enough to stay under national news radar, but building, growing, because those things, whatever they are, aren't just spreading randomly. They're intelligent. They're coordinated. They're establishing territory systematically, eliminating resistance, securing resources. They're colonizing. And our government knows. They've known since Camp Holloway, maybe longer. And they're not stopping it because they don't know how, or because they decided containment is impossible. And the only option left is to manage the narrative, control information, prevent panic, let it happen quietly rather than admit they can't stop it. I'm in Montana now, as far from the Appalachians as I could get while staying in the continental U.S. I don't know if distance matters. I don't know if anywhere is safe. But I had to try. Last night, I heard clicking outside my hotel room. Faint, distant, but unmistakable. I checked the seismic database one last time. There's new activity, western patterns, not connected to the Appalachian expansion. They're not coming from one location anymore. They're everywhere, under cities, under towns, under your home. They've been down there for millions of years, waiting, and we woke them. Now they're reclaiming the surface, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. So here's my warning, my final statement. Listen at night. If you hear clicking, structured, rhythmic, growing closer, gather your loved ones and leave. Don't pack. Don't investigate. Just go. Head to open areas. Avoid forests. Avoid basements. Avoid anywhere underground. Stay in groups. Stay in light. Make noise, but not too much noise. They hunt by sound, but silence makes you easy to track. Don't trust official statements. Don't wait for evacuation orders. By the time the government admits the truth, it will be too late. Kane tried to warn you. Dr. Voss tried to warn you. Now I'm warning you. The clicking is real. The creatures are real. And they're coming. Not someday. Not eventually. Now. Right now. Under your feet. In the walls. Closer than you think. And when you finally hear them, it will already be too late to run. Transmission interrupted. File corrupted. Location data expunged. No further records found. Word count. Part 7 equals 1,179 words. Part 8. Final entry. Target. 326 words to reach 7,800 total. Recovered audio transcript. Source. Emergency services call. Location. Asheville, North Carolina. Date. Current. Time. 3:17 a.m. Operator. 911. What's your emergency? Caller. Breathing heavily. There's something in my neighborhood. Something wrong. Operator. Can you describe what you're seeing, sir? Caller. People are screaming. I can hear them outside. Mrs. Patterson across the street. Her house. The ground underneath it just collapsed. It fell into a hole. A huge hole. Operator. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Are you in a safe location? Caller. I don't know. I don't know what's safe anymore. There are sounds. Clicking sounds. Coming from everywhere. From the sewers. From basements. The whole neighborhood can hear it. Operator. Sir, emergency services are being dispatched to your location. I need you to... Caller. No. Don't you understand? It's not just my neighborhood. I'm seeing posts online. It's happening everywhere. Charlotte, Raleigh, Richmond. Cities are reporting sinkholes, disappearances, strange sounds. Operator. Sir, please remain. Caller. They're coming up. I can see them. Oh my God. I can see them climbing out of the hole. They're pale and they're moving fast and screaming in background. They're taking people. They're dragging them underground. Operator. Sir? Sir, are you still there? Caller. Whispering. I'm hiding. I'm in my attic. But I can't hear them. They're in my house. They're clicking. They're searching. Pause. Oh God. Oh God, they're intelligent. They're opening doors. They know we're here. They... Sound was splintering. Caller. No. No. Get away from... Clicking sounds, loud and overlapping. Screaming. Line goes dead. News transcript compilation. Major networks. Simultaneous broadcasts. 72 hours after initial outbreak. CNN. Unprecedented crisis unfolding across 6 states. What began as isolated seismic events has escalated into a mass emergency. Eyewitness reports describe massive sinkholes opening without warning, and witnesses claim to see unidentified creatures emerging from underground. Federal authorities have declared a state of emergency and are urging residents in affected areas to evacuate immediately. Fox News. National Guard units deployed across the Southeast, but early reports suggest they're encountering significant resistance. We're receiving unconfirmed reports of heavy casualties. Communication with several forward operating bases has been lost. The Pentagon has refused to comment on the nature of the threat, but sources indicate this is unlike any situation U.S. forces have faced before. BBC World. The crisis in the United States continues to worsen. Satellite imagery shows entire neighborhoods in Asheville and surrounding areas have been consumed by massive ground collapses. The death toll is estimated in the thousands, but accurate numbers are impossible to verify as communication infrastructure fails across the region. International observers are calling this the worst disaster on American soil since. Local affiliate, WOS. If you're watching this, please evacuate. Don't wait for official orders. Head west or north. Avoid wooded areas. Stay on major highways. Reports are coming in that smaller roads are being blocked. By what, we don't know, but people aren't getting through. Pause. This is my last broadcast. I'm leaving the station now. I suggest you do the same. God help us all. Military communication, encrypted. Channel, 82nd Airborne Division. Operation, Appalachian Containment. Command, Falcon 2-Niner, report status. Falcon 2-Niner. Command, we are combat ineffective. Repeat, combat ineffective. We've lost 60% of the battalion. These things, they're not like anything in the manual. Bullets slow them down but don't stop them. They hunt in coordinated groups. They use the tunnels to outflank us. They, Command, Falcon 2-Niner, reinforce and hold your position. Reinforcements are en route. Falcon 2-Niner, negative command. You don't understand. There are thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands. They're everywhere, underground, in the trees. They use sound to communicate and to attack. Half my men are bleeding from their ears. We can't. Clicking sounds audible in background. Falcon 2-Niner, contact. Contact. They're in the perimeter. Fall back. Fall back. Gunfire. Screaming. Transmission lost. Presidential address. Emergency broadcast. Day 5 of crisis. My fellow Americans, we face a threat unprecedented in our nation's history. I want to be direct with you. There are entities emerging from underground locations across the eastern United States. We do not fully understand their nature or origin. What we do know is that they are hostile, highly intelligent, and pose a significant danger to human life. I have authorized a full mobilization of our armed forces. I have declared martial law in affected regions. I have requested international assistance from our allies. But I will not lie to you. Our initial response has been insufficient. We are adapting our strategies. We are developing new countermeasures. But I must ask you to evacuate immediately if you live east of the Mississippi River. This is not a drill. This is not an overreaction. Your lives depend on following this order. We will overcome this. We will prevail. We are Americans. We do not surrender. But we must be smart. We must be unified. And we must act now. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Final known transmission. Source unknown. Location unknown. Time unknown. If you're hearing this, you're probably one of the survivors. Or maybe you're someone far from the affected zones, trying to understand what happened, trying to make sense of the collapse. Let me save you the trouble. We lost, not because we weren't strong enough or smart enough. We lost because we never understood what we were fighting. We treated them like animals, like a containment problem, something that could be walled off or exterminated. But they weren't animals. They were a civilization, ancient, patient, intelligent, living in darkness for millions of years while we built our cities and fought our wars on the surface, never knowing they were beneath us the entire time. We woke them. Our drilling, our mining, our experiments at Camp Holloway, and a dozen other facilities you never heard of because they were classified and sealed. We sent signals into their home. We told them we were here, and they responded, not with diplomacy, not with communication, but with invasion. They reclaimed the surface. They took back territory they'd lost when they retreated underground eons ago. And we couldn't stop them because we didn't understand the rules of this war until it was too late. Sound is their language, their weapon, their entire existence. And we live in a world of noise, cars, planes, voices, machinery. Every sound we made gave away our position. Every city we built was a beacon screaming our location. They hunted us easily. By the time we learned to be silent, they'd already won. I'm recording this from somewhere west, far west, where the ground is still solid and the clicking hasn't reached yet. Maybe it never will. Maybe the mountains and deserts are barriers they can't cross. Or maybe they're already here, digging, expanding, waiting for the right moment. I don't know anymore. What I do know is this. Sergeant Marcus Kane tried to warn us. Dr. Ellen Voss tried to warn us. Anonymous government whistleblowers tried to warn us. But we didn't listen. We never listen. We always think we're safe until the moment we're not. So here's my final warning. Not to save you, because it's too late for that, but so someone somewhere someday might learn from our mistakes. The earth isn't empty beneath your feet. It's full of things older than humanity, things that were here first, things that we disturbed. And they remember. They always remember. If you hear clicking at night, don't investigate. If the ground trembles in patterns too regular to be natural, leave. If you find abandoned facilities with reinforced blast doors and warning signs, don't enter. Don't try to understand. Don't try to learn their secrets. Because some secrets are buried for a reason. Some doors should stay closed. Some things should remain in the dark. We forgot that, and we paid the price. Now it's your turn. Will you learn from our mistake? Or will you make the same one? The choice for now is still yours. But the clicking never stops. It's patient. It's waiting. And eventually, it will reach you too. Transmission ends. All frequencies silent.